What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update, and quite a bit to talk about today. A few things doing the rounds on the rumour mill, and we're going to start off talking about Yves Bissouma, as the Mail are reporting that Tottenham plan to extend Yves Bissouma's contract to stop him leaving on a free at the end of the season. Bissouma's current deal expires in June, but the club has a one-year option they intend to trigger to preserve his value if he's not sold in January. Tottenham will listen to offers for Yves Bissouma in January, with Fulham among those monitoring his situation, but prospective buyers hoping to see his price cut as his contract winds down will be disappointed if the option is triggered and extends his deal until 2027. There was another report as well that they were saying that Juventus are looking to maybe pick him up on a free at the end of the season, so they'll be pretty disappointed if Bissouma's contract is extended. And yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about this, and I feel like we might be falling into another trap here, trying to preserve his value, where if we're struggling to find teams to take him now, then what's going to change next season? We're just going to extend his contract and be stuck with him again next season. If the Spurs are looking to sell him, then just either sell him, and if you can't sell him, let his contract run down.
Yeah, I mean, I started when I first heard it thinking makes sense, keep his value, have him for another year. But when you look at it, he's not getting game time. All right, he's currently out injured at the moment. He's let managers down. He's been hot and cold. And one of the biggest problems we've had for years and years is keeping hold of players that got stagnant and need to get out the club, off the wage bill, so we can bring new blood in. So I look at it, when we had Paratici the first time, one of the things he did was get rid of the Deadwood, wasn't it? Whether it be for cheap or for free, whatever. And I think we just need to cut ties. We don't need to go through this for another year and then what they're going to do the year after. They've got an option this year. They won't have an option next year. And then what? They repeat the same thing and he sits on the bench for a year and not do anything. So as good as it sounds in keeping his value will plummet anyway if he's not getting game time. So I think we've got to rip the Band-Aid off and say, thank you, Yves, but you're gone. Yeah,
I mean, there's another way of looking at it as well. Is like, is there any potential for him to fight his way back into the team? Because Thomas Frank hasn't really had too much of a look of him because he's been injured for the majority of the time of Frank's tenure. His skill set is something that the team needs right now, that's for sure. Is there any way that he can recover from this injury and fight his way back into Thomas Frank's plans? And if he does do that, then it makes sense to trigger that extension to see if there's any life for Bissouma, where you preserve his value and you also make use of him while he's here. Is there any chance of that?
Well, you're talking about Bissouma, progressive passing and breaking the lines and moving forward is exactly what we've been struggling with in midfield this year. So if we had end of the Europa League Bissouma or first 10 games of Ange Bissouma, and he took his opportunity and you knew you were getting a consistent blend of the two, then he's got every single chance. But we've seen this with Bissouma, that he's hot and cold, cold and cold and hot, cold. It's just one or the other, isn't it? Yeah. And if we could have those two types of Bissouma constantly, then I think there's every chance. But are we willing to take the risk to see if we can keep that Bissouma consistently? And I don't think we can.
Yeah. I mean, there's also, like, if you do kind of keep him around from till the end of the season, there's always that aspect of playing for a contract. And once you we've seen it with other players before, you know, the Emmanuel Adebayors of this world, where once you get that contract, you kind of revert into type. There's also that worry as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Anytime you mention, like, contract, he's the first name you think of, isn't it, Adebayor? He is the first name because he's done it at multiple clubs. There is a huge risk of that. And I'm sure, what wage is he on?
He's on a fair whack. I mean, I reckon he's on around 70 to 80 grand a week, something like that.
So, yeah, I mean, you can get a better player in who's more consistent, has shown it for longer periods. So I think, like I said, it's time to rip the Band-Aid off and start getting players like this out the door so the manager can come in and get his players that he wants to play his way.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I think it's lunacy talking about extending that contract. This just preserve his value.
Yeah.
Look, if teams would have come in, look, whoever comes in January, if it is Fulham or Juventus and they get him for like, let's say 10, 15 mil, whatever it is, they are getting a pretty good bargain on a player that has, you know, a lot of quality.
Yeah, and a 10 million hit after 4 years of service ain't that bad. And if you look at it, and we have an overlook of his 4 years at the club, you can really talk about those 10 games and the final stage of the Europa League in 4 years.
Yeah.
Which isn't good enough, is it?
No, 100%. Especially of a player of his quality as well, because like when he's on it, he is on it. You know, what a player he can be on his day.
Unbelievable. I mean, the first 10 games of Ange, I remember going to this weekend's rivals when we went to the Emirates. He was magnificent. He was breathtaking. And he has all the capabilities in the world. I mean, he went to a club like Fulham and he had his head screwed on. He could be absolutely dominant in there. We saw it at Tottenham. He can be dominant in any midfield. But you look at it as well, big clubs in this Premier League, if they're in this situation with an Yves Bissouma, they get rid.
Agreed.
That's what we've got to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, let's move on and let's talk about some potential incoming transfers. And we're going to talk about Real Madrid's Endrick today, as a Spanish publication called Defensa Central says that Tottenham have reappeared in the mix as Real Madrid now accept Endrick needs a loan spell in January to build rhythm. Lyon did appear close to securing that move after weeks of talks. However, Tottenham and Chelsea have both entered the chase late on. Obviously, Endrick's just not getting a look, looking at Real Madrid at this moment in time with the unbelievable quality that they have there. He is still a young player trying to make his way in Europe after a successful time in South America. I don't like the idea of taking him on loan and just training him up for Real Madrid to send him back there to do well. But would you take him if there was an option to buy or an obligation to buy at the end of that?
Well, first of all, would it be a transfer rumour season or upcoming window without Spurs being linked to a Real Madrid player? I mean, it's a constant, isn't it? That's a special.
January's coming, boy.
Special
January's
relationship
coming.
we have. Look, I agree with you. For me, it would have to have some incentive for us to be able to take advantage. Should it be a success, not just a straightforward loan to send back to Real Madrid so he can go on and do what he does there. Hopefully, if there was truth behind this and there was a chance of it happening, there would be an option or an obligation, because he's got all the potential, hasn't he? And would be a great player to come in, but just for 6 months and then just say, well, thanks and bye.
Yeah. The thing is, right, with taking an Endrick on loan, you never know how quickly or how slowly he's going to take to the Premier League with his age and where he's come from or whatever. Obviously, you look at Chelsea and Esteval, how quickly he's taken. I mean, he looks like phenomenal talent, phenomenal. And he looks like he could be one of the best wingers in the Premier League for years to come. Obviously, Endrick's a different player. Real Madrid decided that he's good enough to play for them, and they bought him. But if you take a 19-year-old from Brazil or from wherever on loan and he doesn't hit the ground running, like, you never know. He can still be a good player in the future. Do you bite the bullet? Like a Matisse Tell, for example, you know, we took him at the age of 19, 20, didn't really cut it. We still took him. And a lot of people questioning that. You know, at the start of the season, why did we take Tell when we needed someone ready-made? You know, you're looking at a 19-year-old Endrick. Do we need someone more ready-made, or are you happy to go with someone of that age?
Well, you're looking at it right now, and I think Tottenham hierarchy probably have an eye on fifth place to try and get Champions League football if fifth is still appropriate. And it's like, do you trust a 19-year-old that's come in and got to hit the ground running, or do you go and get someone with a lot more experience and can settle in immediately and have a lot more first-team experience? So it really is a tricky one. And ENIC right now, going into this window, are in a real hard place. Like, do they do something like this so they can target on other areas with finance or with a bigger transfer kitty? Or do they say, right, we're buying established players like they did previous window rather than potential? So it's a fascinating window for us coming up, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. And yeah, I mean, me personally, I think, particularly if it's a loan, I think it needs to be someone with first team experience, because there's no guarantee that he comes in, hits the ground running and gets us what we need straight away. I think this one kind of more of a slow burner. So if you are going to sign Endrick, you're going to need to sign him and nurture him and build him up. And I think Frank can do that. but it's going to take a long time. It's not just going to be instant hit.
Yeah, exactly. It is one of the things Frank's brilliant at doing, as he showed at Brentford, but the expectations of what he'd be expected to do at Tottenham for the second half of the season far outweigh anything he would have had at Brentford, wouldn't they? So there's going to be big expectations on the player to deliver. Yeah,
for example, if you're going to bring in a player on loan in January, it needs to be more of the ilk of a Dejan Kulusevski. You know, the way that we brought him in on loan. It was like a 2-year loan or whatever it was, but it was a loan nonetheless. But he was proven quality at a decent age. I know he was still young, but, you know, he had a lot of experience behind him for a young player. Endrick, he's a young player, much younger than what Kulusevski was, but he doesn't have that experience behind him.
Yeah,
that's
I can't
the problem.
remember, but also you say it's a 2-year loan, but I can't remember, was it an option or obligation we had?
I think it was an option, because do you not remember we had all that conversation? Is Ange going to buy him? Is Ange not going to buy him?
True.
And we ended up buying him.
So there was something to cling on to. But you would say, Kulusevski, who has also played European football predominantly, and we saw what a success that was. Will this be the same for Endrick? Don't know.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about Antoine Semenyo, because we brought you the news yesterday from David Ornstein that Antoine Semenyo has a £65 million release clause in his contract that activates in January. Even lower release clause activates in the summer. And there's going to be a host of clubs chasing him. I said yesterday in the update, if we have anything about us, we go make a bid for him now and you know, try and put our muscle about and try to get him through the door. However, it looks as though other clubs are ahead of us in the pecking order, as Team Talk, not the most reliable source, but Team Talk says that Liverpool are ahead in the race to sign Antoine Semenyo after learning of the conditions needed for a transfer. But Tottenham Hotspur are also ready to throw their hat into the ring and cannot be discounted just yet. However, as it stands, Liverpool are the ones to appear to hold the aces right now in Antoine Semenyo. India Kayla. Look, I keep saying it with India Kayla. Like, I don't know if you value them as a source or not, but David Ornstein has, you know, given them his endorsement before. So make of that what you will. They say, though they actually said a few weeks ago that Antoine Semenyo wants to leave Bournemouth in January. And so they were ahead of the curve in terms of this situation. And they said, an exclusive regarding Antoine Semenyo and Miles Lewis Skelly. They said, Richard Hughes, the Liverpool sporting director, is in direct negotiations with his old club, Bournemouth, for the last 2 months regarding Semenyo. Liverpool are the only favourites to sign him if he signs in January. Arsenal, and he's moving on to Arsenal, he says, Arsenal don't have a cash flow problem to sign Semenyo. However, they are close to the FFP limit without player sales under UEFA's squad cost ratio rule. Miles Lewis Skelly could be sold in order to sign new players. Antoine Semenyo did reject £50 million moves to Manchester United and to Spurs in the summer. So with him already having rejected Spurs, I think this transfer does seem a bit unlikely, particularly when you look at the clubs like Liverpool and Arsenal in for him. You look at Liverpool, clear gaps, especially with Mo Salah going to the AFCON. Semenyo's not going to the AFCON. Arsenal, he's a clear upgrade on like Martinelli and Trossard. Martinelli and Trossard, come the summer, will have a year left on their deal, so I think it makes sense for them as well. But selling Skelly would be big for them because he's an academy product. He's been doing really well there. However, hasn't started a Premier League game this season. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Semenyo for us, I think Liverpool would have been perfectly happy to get it done in the summer. I think that will be his destination, probably the successor to Salah. You got to look at it now. With Tottenham, we would love to see a Semenyo, but do we want to go down the road where we try and throw our hat in the ring and then waste valuable time, like we did with Eze, like we've done with Gibbs White and many, many other players in the past, just to lose out and have wasted all that time to get a replacement in of the calibre we wanted? So I get that, you know, I do get that, and you know, you don't want to go through that Eze situation again, particularly with Semenyo, who's gone on record and keeps saying over and over again, I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm an Arsenal fan. But any top player or good player that you go in for is going to run that risk, isn't it, of losing him to a bigger club? Yeah, no, that's the other side of the coin, isn't it? I mean, before you mentioned Salah and the AFCON, I was like, you look at Arsenal, you look at Liverpool, I think what we could offer them or offer him
off the bat, it's probably more first-team football, which could be a huge thing. And then obviously you got the stadium, the training ground as endorsements to say, here you go, this is a reason you should join Tottenham, and this is what Thomas Frank has planned. So I think we might be ahead on that. But then you look at it, this is the thing we're saying with Endrick this year, upcoming windows. Do we waste time? Or you see a lot of fans go 12:01, midnight, New Year's Day, put that bid in.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you want to put that bid in just to have it rejected out of hand when you could be going for another target to get in? Because I think Spurs will move quick this January. I'm not saying like first or second day, but I think we'll be
just third or fourth, yeah.
Yeah, third or fourth. I mean, third or fourth would be. I mean, you remember a couple of years ago, all right, the players with Dragusin and Werner, but that was one of the first windows where we actually moved very, very quickly and got deals done early in January. So I'm torn. As much as we'd love to see a Semenyo, I don't see the point in wasting time because I think it's clearly Liverpool that he's going to.
Yeah. Or even an Arsenal if they do sell Lewis Skelly. But yeah, I think that might be a bit far-fetched in January.
What I will say, we've seen this with Liverpool. Remember with Van Dijk? New Year's Day wrapped up, he's there. So I think if like the rumours are right that Liverpool have been weighing this up and dealing with Bournemouth the last couple of months, Liverpool will act very, very quickly, and it might be before even Arsenal can get rid of a player because they may know Arsenal's interest. So we'll have to wait and see, but I don't expect Semenyo to be a Bournemouth player by the end of January.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, with such a nice release clause, 65 million for someone of Semenyo's quality of what he's shown this season, gradually getting better and better throughout the seasons as well. I think it's a really good price, to be honest.
Well, I think we found the reason why he was signing a new contract because they had that release fee, and obviously he pledged his future to Bournemouth, and rightfully so for what Bournemouth had done for him. But he's obviously had that release fee put in, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really pledge his future for Bournemouth, did
but
he?
You know what I mean? He could have gone in the summer, but he goes, no, I'll stay.
I'll give you a
make
few
some
more
money.
months.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so that's the Semenyo situation. And if it's not Semenyo, which is looking likely it's not going to be, who would be the other winger that you would like to bring in Iliman Ndiaye? Antonio Nusa has been linked recently. Nusa's having a great season. Any of those two or anyone else?
The one I'd want is just highly, highly unlikely, but never ever say never with Paratici and Juventus. I would love a Yildiz.
That's not happening.
Exactly, but I'm dreaming. I'm daring. I'm dreaming. I don't know if we'll be doing, but do you know what? I love Ndiaye. I really do love Ndiaye. Yes, his productivity hasn't been the greatest.
It's getting better though.
It's getting better. I think he played well when we were there. He's so strong on the ball and he is so creative. And him and Kudus on the flanks could be mouth-watering. So I would like to go for him. I just can't see. Hopefully, they can be sat with Richarlison to sweeten that deal. But I would like to see him.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, that's Semenyo. Let's move on to Takafusa Kubo of Real Sociedad. Footy Insider saying that Tottenham are considering a January move for Japanese winger Takafusa Kubo from Real Sociedad. The Spanish club have indicated that an offer of around 52 million would be enough to seal the deal. I read another report saying that Real Sociedad are struggling a little bit financially, so are looking to offload a big player for a decent amount of money. And this report saying 52 million will be enough to seal the deal. He has been a player that we've been linked to quite a bit over the last few years. He's spent time at the Real Madrid Academy, spent time in the Barcelona Academy, has found his way to Real Sociedad. They're having a bit of a strange season. Obviously, he does really well for Japan, and only in this international break just gone, he's grabbed himself 2 assists in 2 games. But in and out the Sociedad team, I think he's a player of tremendous talent, but I question if he's got the physicality for the Premier League.
Well, only time could possibly tell. Again, I've mentioned it again with Endrick and what's coming up this January. I looked at the replies on that tweet where this info has come from, and it is very, very split on if he would be a good signing. I've seen some people saying Spurs overpaying for another winger, just typical Tottenham. I've seen others say it would be game-changing. And then you look at it, if Spurs were to slam 52 million or whatever the deal was on a player of this quality, is that a sign that things are changing? Is it a sign that Spurs have done it again and overpaid? I don't know incredibly a lot about this player, but I would rather us go for like an Ndiaye, who's Premiership proven, has the physicality that you said he may be missing. And I don't know about this one, so I don't really want to comment and say I think it would be a great move or not, because there's not too much to know about him. But would that be money well spent, in your opinion, 52 million, or would you rather that 52 was spent elsewhere?
I would prefer it go towards more of like an Iliman Ndiaye, to be honest, someone that's Premier League ready, Premier League proven. I just have my doubts about Kubo. I think he's, like I said, a very talented player. And if he can get to grips with the physicality of the Premier League, then I think he'd be brilliant. But yeah, even in the Spanish league right now, he's a bit in and out of the team, and there's got to be a reason for that.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
So watch this space. I'm sure that rumour will generate a lot of January.
Yeah. Last for the transfers, Spurs linked to Christos Tzolis of Club Brugge, another Club Brugge player being linked to Spurs. Not the most reliable source, like I said, Team Talk, saying Villa, Palace, Tottenham and West Ham are keeping tabs on Bruges winger Christos Tzolis ahead of the potential transfer. Tzolis' impressive performances for club and country haven't gone unnoticed. Multiple top clubs are keeping a close eye on his progress at Club Brugge and could make a move to try and prize him away. Now, Christos Tzolis, I don't know if you remember, he used to play for Norwich back in the day. I think he was like 19 or something when he was there. Didn't pull up too many trees when he was there, but it was after his Norwich days where he really started to come alive. So he moved to Düsseldorf, which was in the Bundesliga 2 at the time. In his first season there, in 30 games, he got 22 goals and 9 assists, and 6 assists, which was just unbelievable. Got his big move to Club Brugge after that. In his first season for Club Brugge, in 38 games, 16 goals and 9 assists. So moved up the leagues and did very well. This season, 5 goals, 3 assists in 14 games. He's part of this Bruges team that's doing really well in the Champions League. Had a really good game against Barcelona last week as well. Really tricky winger. Predominantly plays on the left, can play on the right a little bit as well. So I've actually been following a little bit since his Düsseldorf days. And he just seems to be adapting with every move that he takes. And what's actually pricked my ears up a little bit to him is his record in the Champions League. So this season in the Champions League, he got a goal against Atalanta.
Okay.
Got an assist against Barcelona so far this Champions League. And then last year in the Champions League, assist against Aston Villa, assist against Atalanta, assist against Sporting, a goal against Sturm Graz. So he's pulling up these goal contributions in the Champions League against really good opposition, which makes me think, at 23 years of age, I know he's never played at, a big league or anything like that. But from going to the Bundesliga 2 to the Belgian league and doing really well in both leagues, makes me think, is there a gem here?
Well, you look at it as well. At Norwich, failed, was prepared to drop down to a different league.
He was very young, though. He was very young at Norwich.
Yeah, but I'm still saying right, okay, I'm going to go down a division to second division at Bundesliga 2. Those are impressive numbers. The thing that gets me the most about this, when you mentioned it, was that versatility for left and right. Because if Kudus is out, suspended, injured, rested, whatever, sounds like there's another viable option. If it's the left, so versatility could work.
Yeah, a left winger that can use both feet, that knows where the back of the net is. Where have I heard that one before?
I don't know. Europa League winning captain, maybe?
Someone like that. No, I'm not saying he's going to be anywhere near Sonny's level, but I just feel like this guy, there could be something in it. There really could be something in it, and I think he could turn out to be a very good player. 23 years of age, so I think you're getting him at a good age as well.
What sort of money are they talking about, or dare not mention a fee?
There's no mention of a fee, but I don't imagine it's going to be like crazy money. In terms of his he signed for Club Brugge for 6.5 million euros from Düsseldorf. So why don't like 25, 30 billion, I reckon, could get him.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But I must say, someone that can play left and right, especially when we've seen the problems we're having this season, putting Johnson on the left and other people, Simmons when he could be playing the 10. Signing a versatile winger that can play both flanks could be a masterstroke.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But then also goes back to the point that I'm always making, that I want to buy ready-made players. He's not the ready-made player yet, and he is more of a development player still at the age of 23.
But if we're to sign him and a ready-made player, but not in that position, but we brought in a young winger, young unproven, like in this league, winger that could be a potential, let's see, at a development, plus an established player, then I'd be fine with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But, Greece are actually producing some really good players at this moment in time. You've got this Tzolis guy, the Koulourakis, who we spoke about the other day, and the young kid that's at Brighton, I think, is Greek as well. And he scored the other day against Manchester United, and he looks really good as well.
Well, we've had the Belgian contingency, we've had this, the Welsh. Why not go for the Greek now? Let's get another nation and start signing their gems.
Yeah, we already had the Greek manager, but he's gone now.
Manager, yeah, not players, not player.
Don't tell Marinakis about the Greek Revolution. All right. Last but not least, we're going to have some quotes from Rodrigo Bentancur. And he's talking about Spurs' season so far. And he says, we have a new coach, and I think we have improved a lot. We started the season very well, including the UEFA Super Cup. We played a great match against PSG. They equalised at the end, but we lost on penalties. But I think we have taken a step forward, and the team is competing very well. So he seems to be very positive about the outlook of the season and about the progression and the way Spurs are going. Do you feel like Spurs have improved a lot in these early parts of the season?
First of all, let me say, well played, Rodrigo Bentancur. Well played. Look, this has been a discussion we've had all season, not just you and me, everyone that supports this football club. Obviously, we can say in the style of football, no, there's a lot to be desired. There's other things that need to be picked up, but where we sit right now in the top six, undefeated in the Champions League, yes, we've got out of a cup. One of Frank's first objectives was to be hard to beat. We have been. So in those aspects, yes, there has been progress, and I believe the progress will continue. Has the style of football improved? No, not really. Has the injuries improved? Not at all, really. But we're still just in November, so there's a lot of room to go. And to hear people like Rodrigo Bentancur, who's been in and out of the team because of this, does the midfield pivot work, and we've seen games where Rodrigo Bentancur himself has been fantastic, like in the Copenhagen game, and other games where he hasn't been. It's good to hear from him, a senior figure at the club, how the players are feeling.
You got to remember as well, when you talk about the injuries not improving, you got to remember that the players that we're missing, the Madisons, the Kulusevskis, the Dom Solankis, these are all like predating injury problems since last season. So
yeah, you would say it, but Madison got injured on tour, but that was a freak. That's
true.
But then you look at it, Solanke also played pre-season, but Solanke, God knows what's going on with him.
No, he played, but I mean, he said the injury I think he was carrying from last season.
Oh, there you go, sir. So let's say half and half.
But we do have the most, I'm looking at it now, the league table for injuries, and we've got the most injuries from anyone in the Premier League. But they all just seem to be like proper freak injuries. Like, not many of them are muscle injuries or anything like that for being overworked or anything. You got Muani, you know, head clash with Harry Maguire. You got Pape Sarr, who's just got injured on international break. Romero's back. Kudus, don't know what's going on with Kudus. He's probably back. Bergvall, obviously, concussion. Kota Takai, God knows what's going on with him. Archie Gray was a calf strain, so, you know, that one could have been. Yves Bissouma, God knows what. That was another international break one, wasn't it? Radu from last season. Ben Davis, thigh injury. Solanke, I think, you know, it has been predating since last season, the problem, in my opinion. Decky from last season, and Madison, an ACL on pre-season. So a lot of them have just been either on international break, predating from last season, or freak injuries.
Isn't it amazing that last season we're struggling permanently because of our defensive issues? This season, it's all because of our attacking issues.
Yeah.
You just can't make this stuff up where it happens. But hopefully, Kulusevski is very, very close to a return, or getting closer. Radu is getting closer. And then hopefully it will start to look healthier, and then with January. But like we said, it's good to hear senior players like Bentancur come out and say these things. And we've heard this from a few people that they're happy with the way things are going at the moment, and long may it continue.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, mate. Only one way to show your delight in the way it's going, and that is to get 3 points on the weekend against Arsenal at the Emirates. So, look, that is our Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have brought you today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.